welcome back again, Bots and Bits fans. Today I'm taking you through the second act of this Megatron mashup, and that is the Toyhouse Factory THF-03 Dynastron, or Dynastron, however you want to say it. Now, I bought this guy from ShowZstore.com. They shipped him out to me super quick at a great price. I'm pretty sure they have every KO Megatron listed in their store now. What are we up to, like number 6? So if you're interested in this guy or any of the other ones, head over to their website, check them out. I'm sure they'll help you out as quickly as possible. Their links are in the description. Now let's just quickly take a look at the box, because it does have some custom artwork on it. I'm pretty sure it's custom. Crazy Megatron with Dead Prime, Dead Magnus, Dead Rodimus. Product photos on the back, and that's it. Let's get rid of it. Now let's just move in a little bit closer and take a look at the accessories that come with this guy first. By now we all know what these accessories are and how they're meant to look. I'm not going to bother comparing to the official, and I'm not really going to compare to the KO either. This is just a Toyhouse Factory review. So we'll just look at the base first. The plastic is nice and thick and strong. I'm seeing a couple of sprue marks, but overall pretty acceptable. This pin is sticking right out there. Come on, man, focus. There we go. This pin is sticking right out. It hasn't gone all the way in. I wonder if that's just a simple push. No. Anyway, chain is nice. No sprue marks there. This is all very, very good. We get his Poseable anal beads. These are really stiff. They are very strong. Very strong. And let's just... Is that going to come out? Chuck it on the anal beads. I can't get that. Come out. That does not want to detach at all, and I'm worried that if I put too much pressure on it, I am going to snap it. Come on. Come on. No, that's in there. Okay, so the anal beads get no love. We have his key defective Sigma, which is a very yellowy gold. Doesn't have that same richness as the official or the KO, but still, you know, it's covered pretty well. I'm not seeing any defects or errors or anything, so not bad. And it is die cast as well. We get his damaged chest plate, which in the silver paint, this looks fantastic. Those details are they're just sharp as, look at that. If you remember the KO, the edges were really soft and just really rounded. The KO sort of looked like crumpled car plastic, whereas this looks like actual sort of cracked and damaged metal. Have his mind control helmet, which has all the correct paint apps. If you remember, the KO didn't have these purple bits. See these purple framework areas? KO didn't have that. So the paint's all done. That yellow is done nice. I'm not seeing any spots or errors. The paint on this is done really well for those of you who care. I think this is probably the least used accessory, maybe, out of the whole lot. Anyway, here's Lightsaber. Plastic's not too bad, the pink plastic. Do have a few sprue marks up the side here. Got a large air bubble just in the end. But it is in there nice and tight, and the handle is painted very well as well. And I'm just going to detach this if I can. Oh, geez, that's in there. There we go. That was a tight fit. Right, because next we're going to look at Blitzwing's pistol. Now this is done really well. The KO, the original KO, was done really, really poorly. Just brush marks all over it, scratches. It looked like rubbish. This looks great. Sculpt work is nice and sharp. I'm not seeing any loss in detail. Got a little bit of a spot just on the edge here, but that's pretty much it. So well done on that. And this blaster section doesn't stay in. That sucks a little bit. There you go. Yeah, okay, never mind that. We have his 3 standard faces. Now these are done really, really well. They do have a little bit of like a teal tint to them. Black inside the mouth is done nice and neatly. The eyes are very vibrant. Look at that reflection on the eyes. That is some very nice paint in there. It looks really good. Have the full monobrow, whereas the knockoff, and I'll just bring in an original knockoff head, did not have the full eyebrow, as we all know. And that mouth shape looks slightly different on the knockoff as well. And that's enough of that one. So that face looks great. This face looks even better. That silver paint, just in those cracks and that, just brings out some amazing detail. Yeah, that looks great. And his screaming face, which is just as good. Look at those eyes. Fantastic. They've done a very good job with these. And then the final accessories are the bonuses. So these bonuses are... Hey, where'd that go? Get a toy face, or a toy-inspired face. To be honest, the design looks a little bit rubbish just when it's like this. when you chuck it on him, it actually looks pretty good. So the gold eyes are done really well. That paint all around the top of his eyebrows is super neat. Same with the black in the top of the forehead here. There's little black squares on his cheeks. They're not quite at the edge, but they're all neat, and there's no chips or scratches or anything. And the next accessory is his toy chest with his squiggly chest hair. I like it. I think it looks good. And then we also get Megatron's cannon. Let's just get out of the way. Megatron's cannon. Now, I had a problem with this. When it arrived, it was all warped and separated, and I didn't have any batteries either. If you look straight down the railing, you see this side is bent and that side is straight. So the cannon doesn't sit on his arm properly. It just keeps falling off. It's not a good look. Not a good look at all. But we'll get to that in a second. Let's just check out these sounds first, now that I've put some batteries in. This one, the Toyhouse Factory, does have the purple LED. You can hear those are the Frank Welker voices from Transformers Devastation. So the sound quality isn't too bad. Just go to the next click. So that sounds alright. Now, a problem I do have with this is when you switch it to the Canon sound, the LED is permanently on. See? Yeah, that's you know, it's a nice bright LED. It does look good, but that is very annoying that it's permanently on. So yeah, now we'll just chuck it on him, and you'll see exactly what I mean by how it went down. Now let's just come up a little bit further. There we go. All right. So because these two sections are a little bit widened, when I put it on and go to the first clicks, it's just sort of, it's really loose, and it just comes straight off with very little effort. Look. See, it's barely on there. If I force it a little bit further down, see, so now it's like hanging off the edge. Now it's on there, right? Minor thing, but not perfect. It is a KO, so it's never going to be perfect, but still. And while he's up this close, let's just remove his face, chuck his toy face on, if it will go on. There we go. Take this off. Now this comes off really easily. I remember with the Takara and the KO, that was on there quite strong, and all of this plastic was sort of be flexing trying to get it off, but that just slides straight off. And it also doesn't sit. It moves very easily. But there you have it. And what else we got? Let's just open him up. See if he'll hold his Blitzwing gun. Yep. Tabs in just fine. Not falling out. What else have we got? Get in there. Tab his lightsaber in. That does not want to sit in that tab. That tab is too skinny. Will he hold it with just his fingers though? So he'll hold it just fine with friction. He's not dropping it, but the actual tab itself, that tab is too skinny for his hand. Alright, stand up. Stand up. I'm having slight stability issues with this guy. We'll get to that when we cover his feet. Alright, now on to Megatron himself, and we're just going to compare some colours first, alright? Bring this down a bit. I'm just going to compare it with the original Takara KO. And as you can see, the Toyhouse Factory is painted in like a really dull reflective silver. It's sort of like a vibrant gunmetal. It's not a grey plastic with a speckle in it. It is actually completely painted. And just quickly, while I've got him out there, when I originally bought this KO, he was pretty good. All of his joints were quite good. Now, he's a real floppy mess. Still looks good. Will still hold a pose on a shelf, but yeah, away he goes. Now, when it comes to Megatron's body himself, THF haven't made any improvements or changes structurally. It is exactly the same as the KO and the Takara. Some of the joints are a little bit better, some of them are a little bit worse, but we'll cover that in a sec. Let's just get this cannon off, just for the sake of making things a little bit easier. Now I'm not going to start head to toe, I'm going to start at the toe. As you can see, I'm having some stability issues, right? He wants to just lean on this leg all the time, and I don't really know why. No matter how I pose him, like his legs are both straight, they're both at the same clicks, feet are both straight, everything. He's still sort of coming this way a little bit, and his hips are both in at the exact same level. So I'm not really sure what's going on with that. And I think it's got something to do with this foot. So this heel section, right, when you fold it all in, it's meant to create like a flush line here. But on this side, the top of my toe just keeps sticking out. Right, so if I undo this, so that's where it should sit. Right, but then when I fold the heel in, it just keeps popping that up. And if I fold it in, it's sort of raised it a little bit, and if I try and fold this section any further in there, it just brings this whole thing up. So it's making my feet uneven. So when I put him down, he's got a bit of sway. Hang on, let's just straighten these out. See, it's like a bit bouncy. Yeah, anyway, so I'm not too impressed with the feet. They're not awful. Just other parts of this guy are just really perfect, and that really stands out. Anyway, so onto the knees. Nice sounding ratchet on the knees there. Sounds exact same on both, and they are nice and strong. Those knees are not going anywhere. Then we've got the ratchet forward and back, and thankfully these hip skirts now open all the way. If you remember on the KO, you couldn't even move them without snapping, really. So we've got all the way to there and about to there. And it's not the strongest in the world. Holds a kick nice and tightly, but a bit of a shake and it goes down. Doesn't completely give way, but it does give way a fair amount. Friction out. It doesn't feel very strong. Yeah, it's not. But it's at least consistent with the other ones, and it hasn't turned out like the other KO, which is now a floppy mess. We have a nice and tight waist swivel. That is very tight. You do have that transformation ab crunch, which isn't loose, but it isn't tight either. Moving up onto his shoulders, that ratchet is nice and tight all the way up. Very good. Ratchet all the way. That's a little bit quiet. Yeah. But pretty strong. The other side is very loud. Holds pretty well, and even better, a reasonable upper bicep swivel tightness. Where the fuck did that go? Come here. Come here. Alright. Get back on there. Is that the right way? Yep. Right, so the wrist swivel, at least on this one, is tighter than the joint holding that. That comes out effortlessly. Look. It doesn't drop out, but does not take much to make it go. So that is a tight wrist swivel. Look, it's not staying in. Thumb is nice and tight. Index finger nice and tight, all the other fingers nice and tight. The hand itself seems pretty good. It's just doesn't want to really stay in. I suppose I can push the thumb up and that sort of levers it back on there. Right, other side, wrist swivel is tighter than the rest of the arm. At least this one is staying on. Fingers are all just as consistent. Then when it comes to the head ball socket, like we know, is nice and stiff. That is not loose at all. Now before we move on, one issue I do have with some of the joints is when it comes to this arm with the canon on it. So I'll just chuck the canon on there. Now this elbow, nice and stiff. That's a great range. Holds really well. This one with the canon, not so much. Still going, still going, still going. Yeah, so not great. But what is great is how the back all tabs in. There seems to be a soft tab here holding this barrel in now. See, look, it clicks in. Now that's better. No more flopping barrel. And also another thing that they've got right is the tabs inside the shoulder section. So you can see this shoulder section here, that's not going anywhere. And it's not going anywhere on the other side. So overall, quite good. A couple of bad points when it comes to the joints. It is a KO, so the QC is much lower than is usually experienced. So I might have these issues. You may not if you have one of these, or you decide to buy one of these, or you might. I don't know. I can only go on what I have in hand, and what I have in hand has a couple of issues. But another thing I don't have an issue with is the paint quality on this guy. It's just head to toe in silver paint. All the little details are done really, really well. Like you got this red here just on the elbow. A couple of sprue marks just in there. But really, the red's done pretty consistently. I'm not seeing any chipping or scratches. It's the same. On the other side's a little bit of a mess. There we go. A little bit just there and there, and a chip there. Otherwise, not too bad. The red just in the obliques here is done really well. The KO, the original KO, messed that one up. Same on this side. The silver just looks, look at that. Focus. There we go. The silver is a very, very even cover. It's just a slightest little bit speckly, but who cares about that? It's very, very consistently done. And then we've got the black plastic here. That doesn't actually have a paint color to it. It's just black plastic, but it has like a slight grayness to it. Whereas this side bit just looks completely black. And the same with his asshole. Black. Oh no, he's got a silver asshole. Silver on his legs is done nice. Do have a couple of mold lines coming up here. A couple of sprue marks in the back of the knee. But the silver paint is all done really well. And the back here is done pretty well. I do have a couple of scratches here, which was straight out of the box. Not sure what caused it. Maybe just a bit of box rattle. Who knows? On the side here in the larger areas, this black is all done really, really nicely. I'm not seeing any chips, no haziness, nothing. Front of the shins, that silver reflect. Look, check that out. That silver reflectiveness looks great. Casts a lot of different shadow and colors on that. It really emphasizes the detail nicely. Down to the feet. Now the die cast metal is painted pretty well. It's that same sort of like bluish grey. It's done pretty well. Overall, you know, the Megatron he is a complex figure, and for them to knock it off at a great price with maybe like on the die cast feet 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 blemishes, it's a good job. I'm going to say it's a good job. And that's pretty much it for the paint. We've already covered the face. The clear plastic on his abdomen area looks great. Although it does look like some of the plastic is missing colour. So like the red bit, I've just got sections of clear plastic just in the corner. Same with the blue. There's a little bit of clear just in the bottom there. But yeah, overall, pretty good. For the price, I'm pretty impressed with it. Alright, so let's check out gun mode next. Now, I'm going to skip the transformation because personally I hate doing it. And there he is in gun mode, and you know, I think he looks pretty good. I really like the color choice that they went with for this. It's just reflective enough. It's just shiny enough. Pretty happy with it. Now, transformation wise, I didn't have any dramas whatsoever. Everything moved how I thought it was going to move. None of the panels flexed. There was no stress marks, no cracks, no anything. All the tabs are holding in incredibly well, especially these panels here. They had a very solid click once they went in, and now giving it a yank and a mess with, nothing's coming undone. It tabs together well. All of the panels line up perfectly with the exception of this one section up here. See, it just doesn't want to go in all the way. It's a very, very minor gap, so I'm not too fussed about that. Now the trigger does work. It's not the greatest, and if you push it a little bit too far, it gets stuck. And you've got to pull it back out. We do have the hammer, which still works, and the safety. That's all good. Now, paint-wise, I didn't really notice too many blemishes in bot mode, but now that the panels are all lined up next to each other, they're a little bit more obvious. We've got a couple of scratches just up here. This whole panel here seems to be like a bit patchy, either missing some paint or have some overspray there. This panel, I'm not sure if this is coming up, this panel is a different color to this panel. I've managed to wipe off some of the black paint during transformation, and just from my fingers it's just sort of chipped off a little bit of paint, a little bit more overspray or missing black up here. A couple of blemishes along there, but this side seems pretty good. On the top, all the paint is just fine. you know, it's fine. It's fine. Now I get to show off the gun mode accessories that I didn't show before. So I'll just put Megatron here for the moment, and we're going to take a look at the suppressor first. Now the plastic seems nice enough quality. Colour on it is pretty even. Got a couple of white sprue marks. Just one there. And around here somewhere. Got an exposed pin just in that hinge there, but what do you want? It's very basic. Thankfully someone reminded me of this in my last Megatron video. It's got a rotation here, so rotate it, which way? There, like just a little bit like that. And then it will go on nice and fine. Not the greatest connection, but yeah, okay. And then, let's go there for a sec. Have his stock or flight stand. These 2 feet are die cast, that's plastic. Colour through here is nice. You've got a ratchet in the base, which sounds soft. Does not take, I really don't think that would hold much weight at all. This middle ratchet here is a little bit better, but the teeth sound really uneven. Listen. Sort of has like, yeah, it's got like a busted last click. And that rotation sounds awful. Yeah, it gets to there and it's busted. Anyway, chuck it on. Come on, get on there. There we go. That's on there nice and stiff. It's not falling off. It's not, oh, I hit the microphone. It's not wobbling too much. And then canon, as always, extends, and as we know, mine doesn't go on properly. So it is on there, it does look the part, but it's very loose. And there he is. Now, if you're interested in those parts, I hope this has answered a few questions for you. Me personally, I don't care, so I'm just going to put them back in the box and move on. So, final thoughts wise, is it worth it and should you buy it? I'm really not sure. When I got this out, I was all set to love it because that paint job just looks fantastic. The reflectiveness is great. Structurally, I think he's pretty damn good. All the tabs click in together in robot mode and just they hold 100% secure, and even better in gun mode. Those tabs had a very satisfying click as soon as they would go in, and none of the panels were coming out, nothing was flexing, nothing was bending, there were no stress marks, no cracks, no errors, none of that at all. So structurally I think this was great, and I think the paint job colour was great. After transforming, some of the paint did wear off and I had a few more chips and stuff, so it is just as delicate as all of the other ones. But where this thing falls apart for me is just a few of the little problems, and all of those little problems formed into a bigger problem for me. He has a mong foot, right? So he's always sort of standing on a bit of an angle, and there's a bit of sponginess in the ankles as well, so there's got a little bit of sway. It became difficult to pose, and then we had the warped cannon. It wouldn't go on properly, and then when you did get it on, the elbow wasn't strong enough to hold the weight. And then on the same arm, the hand just keeps falling off. Accessories wise, I think they did a near perfect job. The sound quality on that cannon is fantastic. The voice clips they used are fantastic. Purple LED looks great. It's a shame that the bracket was a little bit warped on mine, so I had a bit of an error with that. The toy accessories look fantastic. That face looks great once it's on. The paint job and all the other accessories is done really well, especially the faces. Can't really fault them at all. As we all know, with KOs, the QC is hit and miss. Your mileage will definitely vary. If you like the look of it, if you like the price of it, if you can get a hold of it, give it a shot, roll the dice. If it wasn't for all of those little issues snowballing into a much bigger issue for me, this would be a definite recommend. But because of those issues that I've had with my personal copy, I'm going to give this one a miss and move on to the Infinite Transformation next. And that's it. Now, if you like this video and you enjoy what I'm doing, please like and subscribe to my channel. Remember to check out my Facebook for daily news and updates on KO and third-party stuff. Don't forget my Instagram account, #botsandbits, all one word. And as always, guys, thank you very much for your time and thanks for watching.